the planets really big, or like I'd see the moon as if it was like right there, or I'd see like meteors like coming to hit me. I would get nightmares like that a lot. Thank you guys. I have so many people in here complimenting me. I usually don't. Get that in here. Stop hate Okay, did I miss something? Was there mean comments? You guys are concerning me that everyone's calling me pretty. Was someone calling me ugly somewhere? I've been, what's the word? I think sleep paralysis is the word. I've actually been getting it like quite frequently recently, ever since the time that I was like woken up in my sleep thinking we had an intruder. I've been having this same situation happen where someone was hating. Oh no, what'd they say? I probably didn't even see it. I've been having this like reoccurring thing where someone's opening my door and then I like think it's real and I like try to yell and I can't, and then I realize that it's a dream because it's happened like so many times now. But yeah, that's been happening to me a lot ever since I was woken up in my sleep. This floral t-shirt is from Brandy, and this zip up is TNA Aritzia. Oh, let's talk about creepy men for a second, because I made that TikTok today about creepy Ubers, and I think people are taking it really out of context since I used their word smelly, but that's literally just what it is. Like, I've never had a creepy guy that didn't smell. I'll tell you guys some Uber stories for the exclusive 105 people in here, but I wanted to make a video about it because I've had the craziest Uber stories. Like, I Uber a lot, like a lot more than the average person, so I have a lot more interactions with these people, so it's more likely that I'll have bad interactions. But yeah, I've had like the most weirdest guys. I think this is the creepiest one I ever had. Actually, these are my two creepiest ones. Like, I've had other ones that were just like uncomfortable, but there's been two that I actually felt like physically scared in the Uber, like really, really scared. There was once I was going from like the beach to my old apartment. Thank you for the cowboy hat. I was going from the beach to my old apartment, which was like a 45-minute drive, and I was by myself and it was nighttime, and something about me is my phone is always dead. So I remember this day, since I was by myself, I called the Uber like before my phone would die, and then it died while I was in the Uber. So there was nothing I could do with this whole ride because I wouldn't have a phone. Anyway, so this is a 45-minute drive. I'm by myself, and the whole time the guy is playing this like murder podcast, but it wasn't like a cutesy murder podcast. It was like in detail describing like raping a woman and then killing her and like cutting her body up. I'm scared my TikTok's gonna get banned. Yeah, this guy was playing this like really gory podcast about like cutting up body parts, and then on top of that he also was like on his phone the entire time. Like, after this car ride, like while I was in it, I was like so scared for my life, but there wasn't anything I could do because I had a dead phone. So I was like, let me just sit this through, like, and like hope I get home alive, because if I say anything to him and he like kicks me out and then I'm phoneless, or like he brings me somewhere, no one's able to track me because my phone's dead. So I just like sat through the entire time. And then when I got home, I like called Uber support, like, and literally told them this, and they were just like, oh, like, we have a policy that our drivers are actually allowed to listen to whatever they want. You can ask them to lower the volume if it's painful or if you have auditory, whatever. And then they gave me $5. I was like, I'm not asking for $5. I'm saying that this man should not be trusted with girls in his car. That was probably like the only time that I was like actually really scared for my life because my phone was dead and everything. And then another time which was like a really creepy experience. This was before me and Kate were living together, and I was going to like meet her out to eat, and I was like dressed up and stuff, And I get in the car, and this guy just like the second I get in, he's like, "Oh, you're going to this restaurant?" And I've heard that Ubers aren't supposed to see the exact place you're going to. They just get told to drop off. So he like clarified with me which restaurant I was going to. And I said, yeah, I was like, yeah, it's that one, which I probably shouldn't have said looking back. And then he was like, "Oh, who are you meeting there?" And I was like, "My friend." And he was like, "Is your friend a boy or girl?" And I was like, "She's a girl." And he was like, "Are you sure? Are you lying to me?" And I was like, "It's a girl." And then at this point, I was just trying to like just go on my phone and ignore him. And then he was like, "Well, do you go on dates often?" And I was like, "I'm not going on a date." And he was like, "Well, I said, do you go on dates often?" And I was like, and he was, it was just like very creepy though. Like he would not stop. And then I remember like when we started getting closer to the restaurant, he like dropped me off like 2 streets down and was like, "Oh, I think it's right here." And like I was just like, "You can let me out here, I'll walk there." It was just really, really weird. Again, I reported it to Uber. I said my driver was asking me personal questions the entire ride. They didn't say anything. They were just like, "You could give him a bad rating, but if our driver doesn't have previous like complaints, whatever." That was another time. Then there's some funny times. I had a time that I was holding a vape in my hand, and the driver literally reached his hand back and was like, "Can I hit your vape?" And I wasn't gonna say no to this like an older man that's literally driving me around. Like I don't want to upset him, so I just handed him my vape, and he's just smoking it the whole ride. And then when I'm about to get out, he hands me the vape back, and he's like, "Here, you want it?" And I was like, "You can keep it. Like, I'm not taking a vape back after this random old man was just hitting it the whole time." And he tried telling me, he was like, "Oh yeah, I just needed to use yours because my wife doesn't let me." Like, okay, is that my problem? Yeah, I probably had, I just can't even think. Oh, then I had another time. This was like an annoying one because it turned into a whole thing. I had to call my bank and everything. I had a driver. Also, you guys can attest to me with this. I don't drink and never get drunk. Like, the last time I was drunk was so many years ago. I had a driver report a cleaning fee. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe I spilled something, whatever. So I like just do an appeal in Uber, and I'm like, "Oh, like this rider is charging me a cleaning fee, but I'm pretty sure I didn't make a mess." And then they send me back a picture of puke, like in the back seat, like a huge thing of puke. And I respond to Uber, and I was like, "That wasn't me. Like maybe it was a different rider." And they like somehow provided evidence that it was my ride that puked. And it was just like the weirdest thing. I was like, I did not puke. Like, I think I would remember puking. Like, I was sober. Yeah, and then Uber like would not refund me. I literally had to call my bank and like say that Uber is like charging me wrong.